born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago, and my family was Catholic, so I grew up going to Mass on the weekends, but our faith wasn't something that we talked about much outside of Mass. It was definitely something that we checked off the checklist, so to speak. But I did have a maternal grandmother who was very instrumental in my faith life. With her, we would pray the rosary together. She taught me how to have a friendship with Jesus from a young age. So from a young age, I did want to do something for God. I wanted to contribute to taking care of His people. I knew that as Catholics, that we not only believe, but we act on what we believe. And so I wanted to, I thought, do engineering work so that I could help build infrastructure abroad. But in college, when I took the opportunity to study abroad in Africa, I really found my heart turned back to Chicago, to the needs of the people and the places that I came from. And it was at that time that I had the opportunity to meet our community, the Franciscans of the Eucharist. There was something radiant about how the sisters were one with one another and how they took care of the poor and how they gave their lives so joyfully to God. So after a couple months and years of discerning, I felt this weight of discernment, meaning I knew that I wouldn't be free to be in a relationship with a man until I knew I'd solved this question with God. Was I called to marriage or was I called to be a sister? So I've been working with a spiritual director for a couple months, and she said, well, why don't you bring it to Mary, to the mother of Jesus? And until that point, I hadn't really had a relationship with our mother. But I decided to take her advice, and leading up to the Feast of the Immaculate Conception in December, I made the promise to each day pray an hour for 9 days leading up to this feast, so a novena, so to speak. And so for each day, I'd go to the chapel and I'd pray for an hour and ask Our Lady to help reveal to me what her son's will was. Did he want me to be his sister, or did he want me to be married? It came to the last day, and I was quite fed up with not having a big sign yet, or big lights or signs. And I was in a chapel where it was dark, there was nobody else there besides me, and I kind of bowed down and put my face in my hands out of frustration. But I felt the sense that I was supposed to look up. And above the sanctuary, there was a painting of the Last Supper, pretty classic. And Jesus, of course, was holding up the bread. But what it looked like to me, it was kind of an Instagram of a different picture. It looked like he had his hands with a crown of roses over the shape of a veil. And I had previously been to a final vows ceremony for a sister in New York. And when she took her final vows, she of course had a veil, and with that a crown of roses to symbolize this moment of her wedding day to Jesus. And so it was quite clear that Jesus was saying, like, if you listen, if you really want to know my will, like, here it is, sister, like, I want you to be mine. And for the first time I turned to him and I said, Jesus, it sounds like you want me to be a sister, and if that's what you want, it's what I want. And from that moment, the sense of weight or confusion or doubt was lifted. I didn't feel fireworks, I didn't feel really excited yet, but rather it was a sense of the lack of fighting. It felt like a sense of peace, and that peace continued to grow into joy. God created us to love and serve Him, and has given us the ability to do that through His Son. So I just would encourage people to take the risk to love Jesus.